Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the Align2Shape tool, and basically what I have in front of me is I have drawn what's in red is the center line layer, what's in that pink is the AOI polygon layer, and when you use Align2Shape, you're basically aligning to data that exists outside of your topology. Align2Edge is for aligning stuff inside the topology. Align2Shape is when I'm trying to take AOI and align it to something that's not parcels or partial lines. I'm trying to align it to hydrography or center lines or city boundary. And so you get the Align2Shape from the advanced editing toolbar, which I'm not editing. Let me start editing on this. I've already added the advanced editing toolbar here, and you have this little button on it called Align2Shape. Right next to it is a new tool called Replace Geometry. This is pretty cool. I'll have to go over the video on that. You have this Construct Geodetic, that's new, and the button icons for these two have been enhanced to show the 10-0 coloring pattern. But back to Align2Shape, what we're going to do is I can bring this up. It's modeless, which means I can open it up and I can move around. So I have two areas I'm going to adjust. I'm going to adjust here, so you can see that it's off. And I'm also going to go down this street here. I'm going to do this one first. So I'm going to end here, and I'm going to start here. So when you're defining things, when you first add the Align2Shape, whatever layers are turned on, I think the default behavior is whatever layers are turned on in your map view will by default be turned on in your layers to be aligned. So you have to be careful with this. So if I'm working with AOI and center lines, I'm going to leave everything off except for AOI. If I leave parcels on, for instance, in an area like along here, that's a big gap. If I have a tolerance to, let me go to even this one. If I have when you see this little buffer that gets created, if I have parcels that are checked, my parcels will adjust as well as my AOI, and I don't want that to happen. So you'll see when I get to that point. Let's go back to our area. So the first thing you do is you click this little button, click to trace the shape. That layers will be aligned tool. Let's take this down to 5 just for demonstration purposes. First thing you do is you check the layer you want to align, click the little button, and then you get a change in the cursor. And I know I want to snap to center line, so I can see in my pop-up is I'm connecting to the center line endpoint, and now I want to trace. So it's the same behavior that you'd normally do with the trace tool in ArcMap for editing. You can do this, you use that same capability here as well. So as you see, at this extent, at 5 feet, it's created this little buffer. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but when you play with this tool, you'll see this like little buffer that will show 5 feet basically. I don't know if it's really 2.5 this way or 2.5 this way, or it's 5 all the way around, but the bottom line is whatever fits within that buffer will get snapped. And as you can see, pretty good up to that point. But when you get to here, the AOI is a little bit further out, so it doesn't snap. And it looks good all the way to there. But I want to capture this as well. I could just go now and then do another one to capture this little area that's not within the area, within the tolerance, but I want to handle it in one operation. So when I go to 10, it disappears. It snaps on top of one another. So right now it appears that AOI is aligned to the shape of centerline. really the next thing after this is I click Align, and it's done. So now I can come back here, I can turn off center line. I don't see AOI underneath. Exactly what I wanted to do. Okay. Now I'm going to do one a little more trickier. This one I'm going to go basically from here through all this mess to here. So I'll start the same process. I still have AOI selected. I'm going to click the trace tool. I'm snapping to the centerline endpoint. I'm going to trace. Got to be careful when you're tracing that you don't go off to a offshoot to another segment, because I'm trying to follow along here. And end it. Okay, once again I got a 10-foot buffer in there, but this area didn't get captured. So that area didn't get captured. And this is where I was explaining, if I had parcels checked on here, as I expand this buffer, it would get captured in here. But let's just show 20. Goes a little bit bigger. Let's do 30. Goes a little bit bigger. See, as you see, in this 30 tolerance, it's actually extending into the parcels. So in theory, if parcels is checked, this would be snapping to the same center line. And I don't want that to happen. So that's why I only have AOI chosen. Let me go to 40. It's still there. And go to 50. And see, then now it's okay. It's all good. So it's snapped here. So it's where I want. And it's only AOI that's being snapped. My other area looks like it's resolved within that area. Then that, you know, with all this complexity here, it's only snapping what I want to be snapped all the way to this point. And so at this point, all I got to do is click Align, and everything should be good. So basically, what this demonstrated is anytime you need to align to a layer that's outside of your topology, you use this new tool on the advanced editing toolbar called Align2Shape. Very handy, will be I think very helpful within the mapping workflow. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was helpful.